Legion Remix is done, everybody. Hopefully you got everything you wanted from it. I had a great time playing Legion Remix. I thought it was a lot of fun. But now, just like Mr. Pandaria Remix, it's a thing of the past, which begs the question, what's next? Right? Welcome back, everybody, to Crendor Talks in front of a shitty green screen. Today, I want to talk about the question, what is the next remix for World of Warcraft? Some people might say, I don't think they're going to do another remix, but I think they will. It seems like it's pretty easy to do. It seems like a lot of fun. It's a way to, get people playing the game during downtimes for, moments between expansions. There's a lot of reasons that I think Remix is a lot of fun. It fulfills that kind of World of Warcraft power fantasy of just getting really strong and just bashing your way through, memorable, nostalgic old content and having a great time. I've seen quite a few suggestions from a lot of people in terms of what they think the next remix will be. My personal opinion is it's going to be Battle for Azeroth. The other ones I've seen are Warlords of Draenor and Shadowlands. I've also seen some say Wrath of the Lich King or Burning Crusade, but there's a few reasons that I think Battle for Azeroth is the next, I almost said expansion. It's the next expansion. The next Legion, or dude, I can't even talk. The next remix, right? So I think Shadowlands and BFA are the easiest choices because of the amount of collectibles that each of those provides. So as somebody that does a lot of mount collecting, Shadowlands and BFA have by far the most amount of mounts that I still have to acquire, and I still got a decent amount of mounts from both of those expansions. So they got plenty of stuff, and as we've learned from Remix, from MOP Remix and Legion Remix, there's a lot of stuff to collect. Even when Blizzard starts adding in their own mounts, right? They start adding in skin variations, different color variations of, things from that expansion. And so I could definitely see either BFA or Shadowlands being that next remix because of those reasons. Just the amount of stuff that you have to collect. Now, that's part of the reason I don't think they will do things like Wrath of the Lich King or Burning Crusade, even though I do think that would be fun to re-level up and get really strong in those expansions. And then they could always just make stuff for those expansions, right? They could always just create new things like I just mentioned, right? Recolor stuff, turn things that weren't mounts into mounts, right? There is that option, but I think for me, BFA just has a lot of potential. So for example, the thing you would put all of your resources you accumulate into would just be the Azeroth neck piece, right? That was just the artifact neck we got back in the day. That's in Remix you had your weapon. In this you would have your neck piece, right? And you would just put everything into the neck, and there you go, right? And then I think we just have so many different ways to kind of play around with getting bronze or whatever the currency would be, right? There's island expeditions, which I think people hated back in the day, but they could probably make them fun, especially when you're ramping up in power and you're able to just wipe them out real quickly. I'm sure they could fine-tune some stuff here or there. There's the war fronts, which I actually really liked war fronts at the start of BFA, and then they just kind of got whatever, but I think they could take those and make them kind of fun in a remix style. I don't know how exactly, because I mean it's very much like a large scale strategy PvE type of thing, right? So I feel like there's a lot of ways they could play around with that, but I'm sure they could figure something out and just make it fun. And if not, they could just make it so it's we got to go do it for bronze or whatever it might be, right? I really love all of the BFA zones. I love all the BFA raids. BFA was just a really fun expansion to me, and I kind of just want to go back and play it again, but without Azerite, because to me, Azerite was the thing that made BFA bad, right? The treadmill, and the Azerite treadmill, that was the main thing people hated. But I think if we go back there, and obviously, Azerite would be whatever, we're not just getting Azerite, it would be all about bronze and stuff and getting overpowered. I think people would actually really enjoy BFA, because there were so many cool dungeons, so many cool raids, just the aesthetic, the art, I love Dazar'alor, I love Borealis, there was so much cool stuff in BFA, and I think it'd be great to go back. Now, that being said, Shadowlands, I think, could be an option for remix, but I don't really want it to be. I don't want it to be next. I think if we had BFA remix, I wouldn't mind if it was the one after that. But it's just, as somebody who, again, I like farming mounts and getting stuff. I went back to Torghast and tried to get a bunch of Torghast mounts. And even as somebody who was like leveling much higher than I should, like I was one shot and everything in Torghast, right? It was still so annoyingly bad to just run Torghast. It was just like, maybe if they redid it and added some fun new abilities with remix and be like, oh, here's some crazy stuff or something. But like, it's so boring. It's so monotonously boring and I hate it. And then the Maw, like maybe if they allowed you to fly around the Maw or do other stuff, but like the Maw is just, I think I just don't, I just don't like half the zones in Shadowlands. And then, you know, some of the zones are cool. I don't know. It wouldn't be bad because you'd still be able to acquire a lot of Shadowlands stuff without having to play current retail Shadowlands and go back and do a bunch of things. Like, what's the zone? It's like all space desert and it's where the big raid is at the end. And then I can't remember what it's called, but I tried like, you know, getting the crafting and stuff from there and doing all the stuff and getting mounts. And once I realized that the crafting system is like so like grindy, so I was like, all right, I unlock crafting. Now I can craft some Shadowlands mounts, get all this stuff done. And then you realize like, oh, this is going to take forever. Like, I was like, you know what? I'll just wait for remix. I'm just wait for remix. I'm sure it'll happen at some point. So I'd love to get some of those mounts, right? And not have to actually put in the effort to the current retail version of the game. But, aside from that, I think maybe Draenor would be cool because you could have like a remix garrison or something like that. And, you know, obviously the Draenor zones were pretty fun. A lot of cool raids there. Leveling was pretty solid. It was just garrisons were the problem. But I feel like they could do some stuff there where, I don't know, some sort of remixy type of thing where garrisons you wouldn't be encouraged to just like play phone games in your garrison essentially, right? But I mean, overall, I just really want Battle for Azeroth to be the next remix because I just really like Battle for Azeroth. So I'm curious what you think. Put your what you, I don't even know what to call it. I was going to say your suggestions. I guess it would be a suggestion. What you would want for the next World of Warcraft remix. Post it down in the comments section below. I'm curious because, I feel like everybody's going to have some sort of differing opinion. They always do. I mean, I would also love a Classic Plus, but who knows if that'll happen and if it'll be any good. But either way, I still just love remix as a concept. So I'm really excited that they're gonna, you know, that they did Legion remix and that they'll probably do more in the future. I imagine they will. So let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. If you haven't seen the latest Pointless Top 10, I'll put it up there. And maybe another Pointless Top 10 or some other video. I don't know. I'll put that up there too. So thank you very much. And I'll see you next time. Okay? Okay. See ya.